It's because I love you, not because we're far apart. Hi, welcome back to another One Chart lesson. Today we're doing the Master's Apprentices' great song, Because I Love You. It's a little bit tricky in places with the timing, but we're going to try and talk you through as cleanly and as clearly as possible. So download your chart. Let's get started. There is some wacky timing going in here, which nobody seems to have ever explained fully. There's some bars of 9/8 and some bars of 10/8, but I'm going to show you a way to play this and to count through it in order to play it. Now, of course, this song was played on a 12-string guitar. So on a 12-string guitar, this riff is basically off this open A string and the D string. Now, the D string on a 12-string guitar has another string an octave higher paired with it. So you get this sound just by fretting one note on that pair of strings on a 12-string guitar. Do that on a 12-string, sounds great. If you don't have a 12-string, and if you want to play this song and make it sound good on a 6-string guitar, you need to play the octaves. Now what we do here is we start the riff on the open A string, 7th fret D string, and then the octave above that note, which is an A. So this is an open A, this is an A. This note here on the 10th fret of the B string is an A as well. So we've got those 3 notes. Now, the original way to be playing this would be to strum down, then down and up on that pair of strings with your pick. To do this, we're going to need to kind of mute the G string in between those 2 octave notes. So the way I'm playing this here today is thumb on the open A string and then these 2 fingers picking the D and the B strings. It sounds like this. So the very first strum, you'll hear the bass note, but then after that it comes on the offbeat. Like that. But you can just start like that with your octave notes followed by the bass note on the offbeat. Now what we do here is we start on the 7th fret with our first finger and 10th fret on our pinky finger on the B string. This shape just travels down the neck. So we go, and I'm just going to call out the notes on the 7th fret, but this note on the B string is going to be following it down 3 frets above it. So we start on the 7, come down to the 6, and again the pinky note, the B string note comes down to the 9, down to the 4, and then down to the 2. Then you stay there. You stay there for a bar plus an extra half a bar. So as it is on your chart, so shall it be. But it sounds like this. And stay there. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Then we go to this great chord, which is a G chord, but what we're doing is we're only strumming the open D, open G, and 3rd fret B. Right? Some people might want to play this to get the bass note on the G chord. I don't think it's necessary. I think it sounds better if you leave that out. And now what we're doing on this B string is we're going, and you can slide up to that 5. So you're going 3, 2, 3, 5, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 5, 3, 2, 3, 2, 0, and then straight back up to your 7th fret D string, 10th fret B string. Now, in order to kind of move away from that initial octave picking that we did at the start, now is the point at which you can start going with your strums. And whether you're a pick strummer or a finger strummer, it doesn't matter. It's kind of the same theory. We're doing that now. And remember, you're muffling that G string. You don't want to hear it, which enables you to strum all those 4 middle strings, leaving out the E string and muffling the G string and leaving off the E string on the top. That's your first little bit. Then we head back down, after a bar we head back down to that G, open G chord again and do the same thing. And then when you're moving through those notes, it slips into a triplet feel. So it's 1 E and a 2 E and a da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's a triplet feel. Small point there. And then after you do that the second time, you launch straight into this iconic riff. Now again, on a 12 string, it's a little bit simpler, but with our octaves, we can do it this way. So, 7 and 10, slide up to 9 and 12, and then 11 and 14 on the B string. And I like to get those 16th notes going pretty much all throughout this song. I like to keep those 16th notes going, which is why I've tabbed it out using a lot of 16th notes, and even the notes that last for an 8th note, I've kind of still mapped them out as a 16th note plus a 16th note tied to it, if you know what I mean. I'll put a little blob up on the chart so you can understand what I'm talking about there. But to think of this as all 16th notes with your strumming hand, I think is kind of helpful. So the riff, again. Here comes the tricky part, because as we start this riff, we slip into 9/8 timing. So the timing of this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we move into the next part of the riff, which again with our octaves, we're jumping over to now the D open string. So now you want to muffle that A string and strum from the D open string, and your octaves are on the 9th fret G string and the 12th fret E string. And you go, drop down 3 frets to 6 and 9, drop down again to 4 and 7, and then come back to the open A string and 7 and 10. So it's like this. It's really important to go all the way down to the 4th fret and the 7th fret on those top 2 strings for the octave, because then when you go onto that last octave back here, the bass note changes there. All up, it'll sound like this. Okay, now the tricky part of that is getting the timing right and knowing how long to wait before you launch into the next part of the riff. It's not intuitive, and if you practice it for long enough, it would become intuitive, but the kind of the fast way of doing this, another crazy thing I've realized is that the timing with the 9/8 bars and the 10/8 bars before the singing is slightly different. It follows a slightly different pattern to the timing of the bars once they start singing. All this is a really long-winded way of trying to be accurate, because I really listened to this song over and over and over again and drove myself crazy counting, figuring out how to best get through this. So the interesting timing, which I've kind of glossed over a little bit here in the chart for simplicity's sake, because it would be really complicated otherwise, is when we start singing, we've got 2 phrases per line. It's because I love you, not because we're far apart. 2 phrases for each line, 4 lines, right? Right at the end of that 4th line, you get a bar of 4/8, if you like, or a half a bar, where that, and I'll show you how that kind of comes out of that, because that's slightly tricky timing as well. But that's how the timings sort of line up in that section in the verse, and the whole song just kind of cycles through to the end of this chorus, and then goes back to the start again. So it's just 2 enormous repeats of one section. But the easiest way to play this song, especially if you're singing it as well, is by doing this. So once you start this riff, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. It's because I love you. 2, 3, 4, 5. Not because we're far apart. 2, 3, 4, 5. It's because I love you. 2, 3, 4, 5. Not because you're in my heart. 2, 3. Right? So if you kind of follow that method of counting, it makes this a bit simpler and a bit easier to. It's still not straightforward, but it's a little bit more predictable and therefore a little bit easier to get your hands around it and your brain around it, especially if you're singing as well. If you're playing with a band, then you've obviously got to work out how you're going to handle that timing with the band, but this is a way to do it on one guitar. At the 4th line, where he sings, it's because I miss you, thoughts of you come back to me. And then we're into the chorus. So again, we come out of that, thoughts of you come back to me. Now there, when you would start counting normally, instead drop straight down to this open A chord here. And I say open A, but it's open A string, 7th fret D, 6th fret G, 5th fret B, and go, right? And that completes that bar. Then straight away your half bar after that goes, right? So it sounds like this. I'll play it really slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's because I miss you. 2, 3, 4, 5. Thoughts of you come back to me. And then into the chorus. Now the chorus is very simple and straightforward, and it's a blessed relief when you get there because your timing is 4/4 time. You're going A, B minor, D, back to A. And then right at the end, you go A sus or A sus4, and do it again. Something like that. The rhythm is on your chart. It's like this. That's your chorus. It goes 4 times through that pattern, and then you're back into the start, which is that. And you repeat the whole section again, and then the song is complete. You hit that chorus the second time through, and you repeat it until your fingers bleed, and the song fades out. That's the song. I hope that's explained it fairly well. One more thing I would say is that if you wanted to do this riff without using your octaves up high, you can do it just on 2 strings. Instead of just going right, what I find you can do you can have that note travel up on the G string. So you start with an A chord and you only play the A, D and G strings, and you go. Then you come up to the D because you need that D bass, and you're up to the 9th fret and you go. And then when you get down to that last note, include the A string again. So it sounds like this. And that's a way of doing it as well. thanks for watching. It's a fantastic song. It's a piece of Australian rock history, and I hope that was useful and not too confusing. There's a lot of interesting timings going on there, like I said. If you want an exercise or a challenge, see if you can count your way through it and figure out where they are playing those bars of 9/8 and those bars of 10/8. It's kind of interesting. I don't know how they did it, but they've made a pretty timeless song. Masters Apprentices, thanks for watching. See you here again next time.